Tipp FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage, Puck On. Over half a century driving the people of Tipperary and surrounding areas with quality, reliable and economical vehicles, new and used. Call the sales team today to discuss your next car or van on 067 24111.
Thanks, Pat. Welcome back to the final hour of Tip Today. Glad to be joined now by our relationship expert, Susan O'Donoghue, is with me. Good morning to you, Susan.
Good morning, friend.
And great to see you again. Interesting question today, because this sort of comes from a book that we've both read. Anxiety diagnoses are rising sharply, but I suppose the question is, are we becoming better at recognising mental health problems, or are we at risk of labelling normal human stress as some kind of an illness? It's an interesting conversation, isn't it?
I think it's so interesting, because I think, I suppose what is anxiety we were looking at as a topic, because at least then we'll bring it down to something like, but what is anxiety, I suppose, just for people out there who don't. So it's a natural human reaction to stress, feeling like intense worry, fear or uneasiness about the future. So it's kind of, that you're, oh my God, what's going to happen? So you're not living in the moment, you're thinking about what ifs, right? So while everyone experiences it, which we know, we all have anxiety now and again, it becomes a disorder when it's excessive, hard to control and interferes with daily life, often causing physical symptoms and stuff. So what does it feel like if you have anxiety? It's a constant state of dread, being on edge or having racing, uncontrollable thoughts. And a lot of the times, I suppose, in my profession, I'd hear a lot of people saying, oh, my head, I can't get any rest, it's going a mile a minute. You'd hear that a lot from people.
Sure, yeah.
And then the physical symptoms would be the rapid heartbeat, sweating, shaking, dizziness, nausea, trouble sleeping. And a friend of mine said her mum always said to her, if you can't sleep, you need to be doing something about it. Yeah, so if you cannot go to sleep, if it's keeping you awake at night, please do something about it. And behavioural changes would be avoiding situations that cause worry, needing constant reassurance. And we meet people like that all the time, say, really, am I doing it all right? Is this okay? What do I need to do? This constant needing reassurance and difficulty concentrating. And the brain's role in this, right? Your brain is triggered like by the amygdala, which is the watchman, right? It detects danger. It lets you know when things aren't safe, when there's a threat coming at you. And this can lead to fight or flight, right? And this can happen, say, when you have severe anxiety. This may happen when there's no real perceived threat. So, but then again, like the way I see it is we're impacted by our story, and that's where our response or reaction will come from. So it may not look on the outside like it's a real threat, but to the person,
to you it's a threat.
It's a real threat, right? So keep that in mind, right? Because I think that a lot of people miss that little, that, oh, it's not a real threat, what's wrong with them? But to them it's a real threat, and that's the key point. We're all different, we all have unique stories, and we react differently to them. What might be horrendous to one person, what I might have lived through might have been terrible. You may not know about it, I may not know about yours. So the reaction is coming from them, it's about them. And remember, all our feelings make sense. So when it does come from you, we need to look at it, right? Not medicate it, unless it's really extreme and there's no other option. But we need to look at what's happening now for you, How is it that you're so anxious? And I suppose research suggests that anxiety and stress are increasingly overdiagnosed due to the medicalisation of the normal emotions, right? So the normal stuff like, day-to-day stresses and all that, because
exams
or whatever it is. I know, like they say, the two biggest stressors in life might be divorce and moving house and stuff, buying a house and stuff like that. But there's other stuff like people passing away, all that kind of stuff. It's normal behaviours that we're starting to diagnose now as like what happens too is, say, the DSM, right? My favourite book in the world. So that would be the psychiatrist's Bible, right? So what they're saying here now is the DSM-5, which is the latest version, came out in 2013, right? So what they're saying now is that's been widened, right? So I think it was like something 107 or something when they started, different diagnoses in it. Now it's 360 something, I think. So how is it that we're, it's widening the definition of mental illness or diagnosis and putting labels on people. And I think that we need to cut back on that. We need to have a look at it, because we do know that like there's a nocebo effect, not a placebo now, a nocebo, which is the opposite. And what that means is if you come into a professional and you're looking for some support, say I come in and I say, oh my God, I'm feeling so anxious today, I can't, it's been going on for whatever, and I'm so... They'll go, oh really? And is there anything happening? You'll be lucky if they ask that, right? Is there anything happening in your story, right? Because otherwise they may just go, okay, here, we'll give you this tablet to sort you out. So to me, I hear what they're trying to do, and I hear that because there's so many, I suppose, medical suing going on by people, and people coming in demanding when you pay your 60 euros or whatever to your GP that I need to be coming out of here with some solutions.
I want to be medicated. Yes,
I want a solution. I want to know what's wrong with me, right? I'd say not even the medication, but I would need an answer.
Yeah, but the trouble is they don't always have the option of talk therapy, for example, because it's too expensive and it's not readily available. So the simple solution is, here's a bill.
Yeah, and the thing about it is when we go to experts, right, because we've been brought up in Ireland too, I think that has a bit to do with it, because they looked up to them for years. I know I did in my generation. Doctors, priests, whatever, someone who worked in the bank.
That annoys the hell out
teachers,
of me. Particularly with consultants. Yeah. Oh, I'm under Mr. So-and-so and he's absolutely fantastic. That's his job.
You're putting your life in this. And these people are amazing, don't get me wrong. They do years of study and they have years of experience.
But so do concert pianists,
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but remember, you are the master and the expert on yourself.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it, right? But if you go into somebody and they say to you, oh my God, I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, well, it's a good few years ago now, maybe 20 years ago, I went to the doctor and I had back pain and one of my arms was shaking the whole time. I didn't know what was going on. Now, I knew I had an issue with my neck, right? That there was discs and vertebrae and the whole lot. So I went in and first of all they told me I had fallen arches, right? So that went on for 4 or 5 years, and then they told me
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I was wearing all kinds of different insoles and trying to prop myself up
to no effect.
To no effect, right? So then I kind of demanded that we look at other things, and then eventually it came out like that what it was my neck was pinching on nerves, which was running down into my fingers, right? But it took 4 or 5 years to get there. And in the meantime, I went in there one day, and in fairness, they were trying to cover everything, but she said, you may have MS. And I remember coming out there being absolutely... Yeah, she said, we'll have to test for it. And I remember being absolutely terrified. And I remember coming out, but once it was in my head, it's hard to take it out of your head.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So until the test came back then, I was thinking, oh my God, do I? So this is what I'm saying to you. If you go into an expert and ask them to give their opinion and they say something like that, right? And I know why they're doing it, because they'll generally give you the worst scenario, so they cover themselves legally, to cover all their bounds, because the suing in Ireland, we know that it's very high, that people sue, the medical...
Yeah, well, litigation in general
is huge. So we know that. So that's part of it as well. So they're trying to be extra careful and cover all their boundaries so that they're seen to be taking care of everything. But what that does then is it brings us into another field of where you're telling people stuff that may never happen to them.
I know.
But once you put something into somebody's head...
Yeah, and while you're waiting for tests, then you're in terror.
You're sick. You're sick to your stomach thinking about it, which adds to your anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'd imagine the way it should run is that they shouldn't say anything to you until they have a result, until they have something.
Yeah, and you hear all
definitive.
the shoulds. Yeah. But that's what it is. You know what I mean? The need there is that, look, we need to take pressure off our GPs, I think, because I think they're under serious pressure. They have people coming in, it's like a revolving door, yeah? So we're like, what happens then is we end up treating people who aren't as severe and may not need the extensive treatment that they're getting, because we're trying to cover all bases. And what's happening then is the people who really need it aren't getting it. So we need to balance this out. We need to take a look at it. We need to see, what's happening here, how we can support people, not to be thinking the worst until we actually know the worst.
For
if
sure,
you know what I'm saying,
Is there a way that they can distinguish between normal stress and stress that is debilitating to you?
Well, as I said before, just the little paragraph there that I spoke about at the beginning, if it is constant and it's, you know, getting worse and it's not getting any better, it's stopping you living your life, it's stopping you doing normal things, of course we need to look at it. But we need to look at it not just from a medication point of view. We need to look at it from how can we support you? How can I sit with you? Please let me know your story. I'd love to try and support you through that. That to me is where you start, not with a medication. But how many people start there? Because what happens is you go into the doctor, he knows the resources aren't there, and he's thinking, oh my God, this person could be on a 5-year waiting list before they get to see anybody.
And he's got a waiting room full of people.
And I can't leave them out of this office with no support, because they're stressed, they're upset. If I send them off again now, what's going to happen to them? So it's kind of a catch-22 for a GP, isn't it?
Does it bother you as well? Because I know it bothers me that anxiety is always lumped together with depression, and they're two very separate things.
Two very separate things. And some little figures here for you now. 25%, which is a quarter of Irish people, are diagnosed with depression or anxiety.
You see what I mean, though? It's always, but they're very separate.
Because I suppose, they are very separate, but I suppose that they look... But see, we're not just one thing either. Generally, I suppose, you would get depressed because you're so anxious. Do you know what I mean? You're like, oh my God, my quality of life is so bad, and, you know, I can't go outside the door, I'm too stressed, I'm too anxious around it, I can't have social engagements, I can't meet people. Like, when that happens, of course you're going to be down.
Yes.
Like, doesn't it make complete sense?
Well, I could understand you'd be done, but clinical depression is a different...
Yeah, it's a different thing altogether, yeah. And then they say that 17% are diagnosed with anxiety disorder in Ireland, and 25% of that 17%, right, is aged from 25 to 34.
Wow.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Isn't that really interesting?
Yeah.
What is that saying to you now?
What it's saying to me is, what happened to that cohort from 25 to 34? We need to have a bit of research around...
Like, is it mortgages? Is it starting a family? Is
social media.
Wow.
That would be my take, would have a big impact on that.
That should have been my first thought. No, but really.
That would be my take on it now. I would say too that we Google everything. I have a lump, oh my God, I'll Google that. Oh, I'm feeling a bit down today, I'll Google that. And like, we're just even seeing, you know, with the CAMS thing, you know, like in Kerry, that was really heartbreaking for me, you know. And that, I think it started 2022, was it, that started off? I think I was in college for one of the courses at the time, and I was kind of going, oh my God, is this really happening? You know.
But lives destroyed, you know.
Destroyed.
And again, medication, a big part of it.
That's what I'm saying, and I can understand why, and I do believe 100% that medication has a place, but I also think that there needs to be, you know, we need to look at it and think the medication's not working, because we're not improving the amount of people who are anxious, or, you know, so what do we need to do around it now? If it's not working, we need to do something around it, because you'll have people who are on medication 30, 40 years. Like, that can't be right.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're not looking at what's underneath the issue. We're just treating, it's like putting a Band-Aid over it and saying, now I can't see it, it's gone. No, it's not gone, it's still there.
Well, generally we don't review medication all that well, do we?
No.
Even ordinary stuff like blood pressure medication or whatever. We don't tend to review it. We just trundle on.
We trundle on and hope that it works. And it's like, sometimes you'll often hear somebody who's on medication for years, they go to hospital then because something happens, and they're in the hospital going, oh, you shouldn't be taking that, you shouldn't be taking... Like, this is what's happening. So I think that pharmaceutical companies on the back of this too, remember.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're making a few pound out of it. Yeah, it's a huge industry. And I know you've read the book Cracked by James Davies, and that's a really good insight. I think he gave a really good insight to how that the pharmaceutical industry works and the money that they have, and how he even said, I think he was saying himself that he got caught up in it, you know, and he, now it's years ago,
as a psychiatrist for years.
And he got caught up in that. He used to actually go promoting the medication to other psychiatrists and GPs, saying this is a great one.
Well, that's why it suits them then that the parameters of illness is expanding all of the time, doesn't it? Because
of course it does.
They're going to need more and more medication.
And just to give people an indication, In the DSM, right, we know that...
Do you want to just explain the DSM?
Oh, the DSM, so
briefly,
it's the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, and it's like a Bible for psychiatry.
Yes.
It's what they would look at and they'd say, okay, this person is presenting with such. It's like a tick box exercise. So
to diagnose
somebody with a label, right?
Yes.
So if they come in and they have, say, 3 consecutive weeks of I'd say not sleeping, not being off their food, or you know what I mean, not being able to go outside the house or whatever it is, they'd have certain criteria for different labels. They'd tick the box, and it's like 3 weeks, it's not like 3 years, like.
Yes.
And then they'd give you a label. The problem with labels is the very same thing as we spoke about. When a professional says to you, you have this, right, straight away it's in your brain now.
Yes. You become that to some
and
degree,
that's the fear.
Yes.
Am I now going to become that?
Yeah.
You know, it's like the power of suggestion. You know,
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, is this what my life is for now? You know, and that's the issue, because now, and I know that, you know, that program, The Assembly, is it? It was on Virgin Media.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
Micheál Martin was on it,
Yeah.
and there was
A very good piece with him, actually,
very
yeah,
good.
yeah.
And that gentleman who was on it, who had huge challenges with hearing and speech, and he was pointing out all the letters, like. Micheál Martin was on Ireland AM the following day, and he said, oh my God, that label, how difficult, like, that made his life growing up, because he was labelled that he'd never really, you know, go anywhere or do anything, or he'd just be supported his whole life. But this young man showed, you know, the intelligence, how just because he couldn't speak or hear, the difference in his communication, it didn't matter. He had other ways. He was that intelligent and that amazing that he found other ways to communicate. But can you imagine if he had support the whole way up along, that he didn't have a label that put him in a box? And that's why I don't like labels. I think labels, if they're going to be used, should only be used, they shouldn't be used as a diagnosis. They should be used as tools to support people.
Of course.
Yeah.
But Susan, don't we impose labels on people all of the time? Oh, so-and-so is a right witch, or so-and-so is a this or... We impose labels on people.
But that's
all of
our
the time.
stuff now.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I impose the label, that's
yes,
about
yeah.
me. That's not about the person I'm putting the label on at all.
Right.
Sure, it couldn't be. You know, I'm doing it. I'm the one this is my perception of how people should be. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So that's about me now. So what I need is reflection on my stuff. And I started off this year saying reflection is key. And that's what it is in every profession. We need to look at what is going on here for me, and how is it that I feel better when I label somebody.
Yeah. How would you feel about the whole stoicism thing? You know, the Stoics, like, who, you know, they're kind of the silent types who they think very carefully about what it is that they say, if they say anything, if you know what I mean. Is that a good way to be? In other words, you're analysing, when I say this now, is this appropriate to say now? No, I won't say it.
It all depends on why you're being stoic. Out
See,
of fear, or if you're being
you play
stoic
chess?
because I'm reflection, because it's reflection and mature, I suppose, conscious reflection, as opposed to, oh God, if I do the wrong thing here now. Do you know what I'm saying? It's about getting to that stage where I'm not going to label you. I'm going to speak with you and find out how it is for you, and ask you questions. Like, I don't want to label anybody.
Yeah.
Right? That would be my hope in the future, is that we wouldn't be labelling anyone, and you wouldn't need a label to get support. That if you needed support, you could go in, and whatever issue you're having, there's support there to support you in that. Whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's... Because remember, everybody goes through ebbs and flows. We all do. That's part of life. Yeah? But when I am now labelled and told that that's it now for the rest of your life, that's the little box you're in, and this medication I'm giving you, you're probably going to hit 25 years on it.
And is it almost impossible not to play to that then in some way? Oh, I'm the anxious one, I'm the depressive one.
Well, look what... There's another side of things. Of course, people get anxious for different reasons, and everybody's different. But if I'm not being seen and not being heard, and then I get attention because now I'm debilitated and I'm in an awful state, that's a hugely powerful way of getting people to help you. Isn't it? Like, we are amazing. Remember, we are amazing. Consciously or unconsciously, we're amazing. So we're always going to try and take care of ourselves in whatever way that is, right? So if I'm screaming out and I am anxious and I have all the signs of it and everything's there, right? I'm screaming out for help. I'm looking for somebody to please see the pain I'm in. So when people can look at that then without, I suppose, just saying, there, take tablets and go away. But when people can look at that and take time to listen to me, because most of us just want to be heard. We want to be able to tell our story to somebody who cares.
Of course. Well, that's why people go to
Yeah.
you and your colleagues as well. Willie Fogarty is in Glengool. I think Willie is trying to drag you into a discussion we had earlier on, and he's wondering about people's diet causing anxiety. What does Susan think about that? And he's also looking at the cohort of age bracket you mentioned in terms of anxiety, and he's saying, what about cocaine and lifestyle and the like as well?
100%. I'd agree with him. He's a Will, is it? Yeah.
Willie Fogarty, yeah. And what about what he's saying about diet?
Look, I think...
Is that something you...
Yeah, I would think diet. Look, I was just having a conversation about this over the weekend. That was funny you brought it up. But I was saying that a lot of the stuff we eat now is, I suppose, mass produced, and it's over processed, and it's filled with, we all know that we're not, do you know what I mean? And even to change your diet and go on stuff that's, you know, I know that pork is supposed to be really, you know, one of the ones now that I would be considering myself to stay away from a bit. There's certain foods and there's certain things, and there's loads of stuff now on Instagram, and there's different people looking through different labels and stuff saying this is insane, the stuff that's in this. And
yeah, but you see, is that adding to anxiety then as well? So you're anxious even about what?
It's building it up, everything's building up. I would say, look, everything, like, you take care of your body, you take care of your mind, right? I have days where I eat stuff and my God, I'd be saying, what did I eat that for? Do you know what I mean? It's full of whatever. But like, we need to take care of all aspects of ourselves, right? And we do know that food has changed hugely. Yeah, it has. Everything has chemicals on it now. It's very hard to find that, and it's not. And then the organic stuff used to be more expensive, but it's not that much more expensive anymore, I don't think. And sometimes it's nearly the same price. So if you want to opt for that, 100%, we need to be taking care of all aspects of ourselves, because it all makes a difference.
Holistic and all of that.
Yep.
It's great to see you as always, Susan. If people want to talk to you, how
sure,
can
it's
they do that?
086 3676 256 or info@emotionalwellbeing.ie. Thanks, Fran, and thanks everyone.
Great to see you, Susan. Thanks very much indeed. By the way, somebody inquiring about the name of that book that we were referencing. It's called The Age of Diagnosis, isn't it?
Cracked, is that the one you're on?
No,
The Age of Diagnosis. That was with Suzanne O'Sullivan.
Yeah,
The Age of Diagnosis.
And that's available at the moment.
It is, and she also had a lovely, what was the other one? She had another one out. Oh, I can't remember it now. It was a really good one as well. I had it written down here, but sure I can't find. Oh yeah, It's All in Your Head. She had that one. It came out in 2015. That was a good read as well.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Susan. We'll take a break. We're back with more. 11:26.
Tipp FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage Puckon. Now is the time to pick up your next van. From the award-winning Peugeot Partner van to the Expert and the load-lugging Boxer van. We have big vans, high-roof vans, long wheelbase vans. You'll find them all at Slattery's Garage Puckon. See slatterysgarage.ie.